Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to episode 8.
Welcome back. It is definitely episode 8.
It's definitely episode 8.
We'd like to apologise for the misinformation spread in the last episode. We weren't sure, and it was episode 7.
Yeah.
Not 6 again.
No.
That was Annette. Sorry, Annette, if you're watching. You will be, because I know you're a big fan.
Yes.
So yeah, welcome to episode 8. Thank you for joining me and Carrie again.
Yeah.
And today, we're joined by Emily. Hello.
Hello. So Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. Like, we've met a couple of times now, haven't we? Mm-hmm. So we've spoken on Teams and we've been spending a little bit of time here. And we've all been really excited to kind of spend some time with you in person. And we're really pleased that you're here. So I didn't know if you wanted to give a little bit of an introduction about you and who you are to everybody.
So hello. I'm Emily, but no one really calls me Emily. Everyone calls me Em. I'm 19 and I'm from Devon. Yeah. I'm a care leaver, which is why I'm here to talk about, So that's me.
And that's why you're here, isn't it? Is to talk about kind of what it's like for you being somebody who's a care leaver or care experienced. But you also have a special link to somebody who's been on one of our other episodes, haven't you?
Yeah, so I don't know what episode it was.
Oh no, don't test me now.
We're not doing that. Right.
No, we're not doing that.
So on a previous episode, you spoke to Pete, who come to speak to you about Mockingbird. Mm-hmm. And he's my foster dad, so I've lived with him since I think I always say 12 and a half, but I think I was nearly 13.
Yeah.
So I moved in with him. I lived as a child in care previous for about 6 months with someone in my family who fostered. And then we decided that I'd move there. Luckily, I mean, it was quite close to my home, so I could stay at the same school.
Oh, amazing.
For I think it was about 2 years, we lived in like a little village. They'd lived there for a long time, which was very different because I lived in a town. But luckily, it was a connecting school, and their son went to the same school, so we went on a little bus. And then, we moved to where we live now, which is, still quite close to where I lived originally. And I'm really lucky, and I wouldn't have thought it turned out the way it is, but they're my family now, and I've got their surname, so that's really exciting. I've only done that recently last year probably.
In the last year you decided to do that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, we actually were planning to do it earlier, but then we had a holiday and we realised that we wouldn't get a passport in time.
That's a very good reason to delay.
So we decided to wait a minute until we had our holiday and then come back to it, because we thought if we don't have a passport we're not going on holiday, are we? But so luckily, and that was really, really exciting and a big thing, which obviously I knew I was always their family, but it just sort of clarified it, and I was the same as them, and that was really exciting. Yeah.
So you're you're part of their family, they're part of yours. Yeah. So I guess Mockingbird's also part of your family as well.
Yeah, so Mockingbird, obviously it was, I think I can't remember what Pete said he did when he did his podcast. I think we've probably been doing it about, was it 2 years or 3 years? I don't know.
It's been a couple of years.
And obviously we've it's grown massively. So I think I can't remember how many families we had originally, but we've have lots more, and obviously we've had a lot more children, and obviously I think most days we probably have someone stay over or a few people. That's changed how our family is, but it's really lovely. I really like helping support the children. I think it's nice for all the younger children to have someone, and they all know that I obviously don't call Pete and Lynn mum and dad. So I think, and we some of them have asked, so where did you live then? Why are you here? And obviously I don't tell the full story. I'll just say, I same as you, we weren't safe at home, so I had to come and live with Pete and Lynn. And I think it's quite nice for them to ask questions, and they're like, well, did you see your family? I'm like, no. What happened? And it's like, oh, so you're going to stay with Pete and Lynn? I'm like, yeah. So I think it's quite nice for them to have someone to look up to and sort of say, oh, it's all okay, and it's not something to be ashamed about. You shouldn't be. And I think when I was younger I used to sort of keep it a secret, and now if I'm out and I'm talking to friends, I've got a few friends that knew me before, but I would still call Pete and Lynn mum and dad, and I'll say my brothers and sisters, my niece and nephews, because they are, but I don't call them mum and dad. So I think and I think it's nice for the, Mockingbird children to, and it is like a big family, and we have a really nice time.
Absolutely. Being, for them, kind of currently being a child who's looked after, being able to spend some time with somebody who's been looked after and is now moved into being an adult, and to see what that's kind of like you say, that kind of role modelling and
and then we also just have loads of fun.
Amazing.
I get to do all the fun stuff, so we do lots of baking and you know, and I've got these chocolate chips. I'm like, I'll put like this many grams in, and they're like, I'm like, oh, okay. So we have lots of fun.
And baking's a big part of who what you enjoy, isn't it? And something that's kind of really helped you and something you really do now. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I love baking. I do, you know, I sell my cakes to people I know. And I think, you know, my first cakes, like everyone, they were awful. They were like, I actually was too excited and I wanted to put the icing on, and Lynn told me, oh, don't do that, Emily, you know, it's going to go on the floor, and put it on. I was like, no, it'll be fine. So this was like when I just came, I was like,
because it was still too hot.
Yeah, and I was like, now I've understood, and I've developed it a lot, and the children love baking, and so then it sort of developed into sort of, I don't know, I just teaching people how to cook. Really, we don't really just do baking. We have made like one cake, but we mostly do like meals, and it's called Foodie Friends.
Yeah, Foodie Friends.
It's a great name,
yeah. So that started in October, so we're fairly new, and I think we've done 9 sessions. We've missed one because we were really busy with another project, we just couldn't fit it in, and we would like to develop it, and I think we started with 5 people, and now we're up to, I think if everyone comes, it's about 11 or 12.
Wow.
And I don't want it to get any bigger than that, because it's nice to be a small group, because then everyone can have, it gets to, and where we are, it's a lovely big kitchen, but you can't have it much bigger than that. So it's for people who have a disability and adults, and it's really fun. We have a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. But yeah, just to learn how to cook and make, you know, healthy, you know, nutritional meals. And also, you know, everyone gets the opportunity to use all the equipment, all the stick blenders, because, you know, why shouldn't they? That's not fair.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, we found that a lot of people that come, they haven't actually tried a lot of the food. So we've done like Mexican fish,
cool.
you know, just like macaroni cheese, just like, you know, and we make it all from scratch. Everyone loves making soup. I think it's a stick blender. It's exciting.
Fair.
You know, so I think it's a lovely new experience, and it's really exciting. I'm really loving how it's developing, and it's really important to me, really.
And that's something you volunteer to do, isn't it?
Yeah, so I volunteer through Lynn's charity. So they previously, you know, they do lots and lots of stuff, and I think there's over 100 people in the whole group, and they, you know, do like water sports, go to the gym, go to like a little local like well-being eco farm, which everyone loves, and I also go to that because it's great. Art projects, theatre trips, hundreds and hundreds of stuff. But what we hadn't done is sort of like cooking and life skills thing, and that's when Lynn came to me and sort of said, with a friend, because one of her friends, she previously did something similar when she lived away, and then she was like, oh, why don't we how would you feel, Emily, like doing this? Because obviously I did cooking at college, so I have all the qualifications, and obviously I know the people that attend, I know them really well, so I understand when they've had enough, or when, you know, they might not be enjoying something, or you know, so we all know each other really well. She sort of said, oh, would you like to do it? And I was really nervous, and I was like, oh, I don't know how it would go, and I don't think I could do it, and it's like, you know, and I did the first one, and everyone loved it, and it was really exciting. And then I realised that I can do them. And now I look forward to it, because at the start I was like, oh no, I don't want to do it. And then like now, I love it, and I'm excited to see how it develops. And I think long term, hopefully we'll do a few more each month. But for now, I'm happy with how it's going.
So there's something you found that you enjoyed doing, and then, you know, kind of Pete and Lynn were like, oh, you're doing really well here, and then you kind of realise that actually this is something a skill that you've learned, and that you really like teaching that to other people and supporting other young people, you know, with like life skills. Yeah,
and I think it's really important, you know, because, you know, why should you just be, you know, if you don't know how to cook, then you know that's not fair. And we do have a lot more fun, to be fair, than but everyone knows, and I, you know, and everyone picks it up, and we sort of teach everything how it should be, you know, all the health and safety things, and you know, and it's really nice to see it develop. And people sort of doubted me, I think, at the start, and were like, oh, so is Emily doing it? I'm like, yeah, I am. I was like, oh, okay, like, and I was like, well, it really annoyed me because I knew I could do it, and you know, a lot of people, they a lot of the people that come, they also attend other groups together in the week, and a lot of the groups, they do like check-in, like circle time, and like, oh, what have you done this week, what have you enjoyed, and everyone that's come to Foodie Friends always says, we went to Foodie Friends and we had a great time, and that's like just such a success that I feel like, you know, I've accomplished that, obviously with Lynn's support and the, you know, the lady, our friend, but yeah, it's been, you know, and I'm happy that the people trusted me to, because I know I could do it, and I wanted to prove to everyone that I could do it, because
absolutely.
And it's getting the opportunity, like you say, to do something like that.
Yeah, and I've been given that opportunity, and I would have never thought years ago that I would have, you know, been doing this, because I didn't like speaking to anyone. I was so quiet, I couldn't hold a conversation, and now, you know, I don't stop speaking. And it's lovely. And obviously through, you know, the charity, I've met so many different people, and I've got so many family friends, and, you know, it's expanded my, you know, the amount of people that I know. You know, and a lot of them you know, and one of them, a lady in particular, she obviously when you do your surname change, you have to have like a, what do you call it, like a like someone to sign off to say
witness.
Yeah, witness. That's it. So they had to have a witness, and it couldn't be. It had to be someone that's known you for a long time. And I was like, oh, I'd really like this lady to do it, and I asked her, and she was like really emotional about it, and it's really nice that, you know, I met her through this, and then she's actually she's a really good friend, and it's so lovely that, I don't know, it was a really special moment.
Allows you recognise kind of in your building your own relationships and kind of friendships, as well as supporting other people in your group to be able to do that as well.
It's lovely, and I think, you know, the world's much better when you've got lots of nice people around you.
Absolutely. So when you first moved kind of into Pete and Lynn's, you mentioned at the beginning there about still being able to go to the same school, and how important was that for you, but kind of becoming looked after, being able to kind of live in an area that you already knew, or with the same school or the same friends, or being able to go to the same corner shop or group? How important was that?
It was really important to me. I think obviously it was really really unfortunate timing that when I was decided where I'd moved from where I am, I think we were 2 days into the 6 weeks holiday.
Right.
So unfortunately I didn't have the routine of going to school and that. So I got told that, you know, we might be moving you. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really process it then. I was like, oh, it won't happen, blah, blah, blah. And I knew it needed to happen, but everyone talked about it, and it didn't, you know, and then my social worker came to see me. She was like, oh, you know, pack your stuff, we're going in 4 hours. And I was like, oh, and I sort of knew, they told me who they were. They give you like a leaflet about information about the family and things they like to do. And I was like, oh, I recognise, like, because he was a few years above me, so I didn't actually know him, but I recognised him. So that, I think that made me feel better, because I knew he went to that school. And I sort of would have a like friendly face, but like I didn't know him. Like, you know, I only knew him once they named him, because obviously we were actually quite a small school, but luckily where we lived at the time, it was the connecting school, so there was 2 options. You could go to that school or this school, and so we went on a little bus. So that was really important to me. And I think since, you know, coming into care, well, since moving to Pete and Lynn, I went to school there, but I didn't go to anything else in the town that I lived. Because, you know, a lot of people I didn't want to see live there. And it's quite a small town, you know. So I think it was important to me that I went to the same school. And we did, you know, think about moving school, but I had such a good connection with sort of the support staff in my school, and there was 2 people in particular who, you know, they were there from the start when I, you know, first originally got put into care, all the way through the end. One of them I still talk to occasionally now, and she's just lovely.
Oh, I love it.
And they supported me through, you know, I think at the start they were the only 2 people that really had my corner and supported me. And I think for them, me moving in the summer holidays was also really hard, because they were like, oh, we don't know where you're going, and I think they wanted to be there to support me. But I was so nervous, and I didn't know what to expect. And I feel like the way I processed it was like a week after, 2 weeks, and I was like, wow, I've moved, because I feel like your brain goes into like protection mode, and you don't know what to do. And I was obviously, you know, I came from a really quiet house. It was just 2 of us originally, and then I moved into Pete and Lynn's house, which is like loud and chaotic and fun and amazing. But it's like so different, because obviously they have four sons, and at the time I only had one nephew, but now I've got I'm an auntie to 3. I'm Auntie M, so that's my favourite thing. It's my favourite thing, you know, to do with all of it. So, but they were 4 boys and they're all very noisy and it was very different, and they all love outdoorsy stuff and climbing and surfing and all sorts, and it was very different to what I'd experienced. So I feel like, you know, it was a big shock to me that you know, people like have these experiences and people are so like, I don't know, adventurous, because I was quite boring and quite quiet. Yeah, and I wouldn't change it now.
No.
But I think going to the same school was a big thing for me. But I did, you know, obviously like a lot of people who had care experience, you know, previous coming into care, you unfortunately for lots of reasons you miss a lot of school. So I think my attendance was so low before coming into care. And when I came into care, it was sort of raised a lot. I was there the most I've ever been. And I've always liked school. I've loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's certain subjects that you hate, but
Of course.
Always,
I
we're all in that.
Yeah.
I really liked it, and and then obviously I lived with. So obviously within the 6 weeks, I think we always say as a family, and lots of people say that the 6 weeks holiday was the thing that sort of connected us. It made us be together because obviously you had to.
Yeah, there was no school.
Yeah, so I was with them all day, every day for 6 weeks. And at the start, you know, I wouldn't come out my room and I wouldn't want to eat anything, and like Lynn would, like, it's so funny, Lynn would like post like chocolate under my door so I'd eat something, and then
Must have been really scary.
yeah,
like,
I was
to
so scared. I would come out my room, and I was, you know, really scared because it was just completely different to what I was used to, and obviously I knew it was for the best, but I knew I knew Pete and Lynn were different from the start, you know, I just felt it, but I didn't want to connect to them because I couldn't, you know, and it took me, I think for the first, I'm now quite a hugger. I love a hug. But I think it took 6 months for me to give a hug, like, you know, and that was a really nice moment, but, you know, and I think you just have to come out your room and push yourself to be involved, and because sitting there worrying about it for 2 days or whatever is so it just doesn't help. You just got to be there and just try and integrate yourself. Obviously that's so hard, but they obviously were pushing me to come out of my room and be like, oh, come and do this, but and I can't believe that, you know, it's crazy to think it's been, I think on on Friday I'd been there 6 years, so that was really special. We had a really nice time. And
what did you do? Did you celebrate?
Well, we had a nice time. So it was actually Foodie Friends on Friday. So
cool.
we took a cake, and we all had cake, and then we did cooking, and then we came home, and then we went to a nice. It's called Rosie's, and it's in Bude. We love it there.
Yeah.
It's like on a beach, and we went there for dinner.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, so that was really, really lovely, and it's a nice
Love
way
it.
to celebrate, and it's our favourite thing. And then we just went for a walk, and then came home, and it was really nice. And it's funny looking back on how it is now and how I'm different and how I feel about the world and all of that, and how, you know, I've got a family now.
And you talked about a little bit about like the profiles you sort of see, so you understand a bit about Pete and Lynn before and their family before sort of moving in with them. How did you find that? Was that sort of like a really useful process to start just understanding a little bit more?
I think the information sheet was quite short. It was sort of like who lives in the house, like what they like to do as a family, and I feel like that was nice, but I didn't do any of the things that they did because they're so outdoorsy and so, like, you know, I was like, oh wow, like I don't know. So I feel like I read the sheet, but I wasn't really interested. I just looked at the picture because I wanted to see if I recognised any of the faces, which I only recognised one. And I feel like it was nice knowing about them, but obviously I think the idea is that you should go and visit, isn't it? That's the process. Well, obviously, in my case, I couldn't do that, and for lots of people, you don't have time to go and do that. But I don't know if for me, visiting would have been helpful, because I feel like that would have. I feel like I'm a person that's better just be thrown into it. So it was difficult, and it was one of the hardest things I think I've done. But I now know that it's the best thing that I've ever done, and I knew that it had to be done. But they did things that made it easier. So like they made me like a little basket, and it had like stuff like shampoo. I think it had like socks in, chocolate, obviously.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
You can't win with chocolate.
What else? Just like stuff that I wouldn't want to, like toothbrush, because obviously I was in such a rush to come, and I wouldn't want to. I don't know if because at the time I couldn't speak to anyone, so I don't know if I would have been able to say, oh, I forgot a toothbrush. Can I borrow a toothbrush? Well, not borrow, because I'd want to keep it.
Have your own one. Yeah.
Can I have a toothbrush, please? So having that basket was really lovely, and it was just so nice, you know, to have. And it was like, just like a nice welcome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. So, you know, something that says you're in our home and these are your things. This
Yeah.
is, something for you. Things that you might already have, but you might not. And like you say, right in the beginning, you felt unable to
Yeah.
to feel that you could ask for the things that you might have needed.
Yeah, and on the first day that I was there, we went, I think because at the time, my brother, he worked where we went to the beach, and so we met him after his work. We all went and we all had fish and chips on the green, which was really nice.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was nice to be outside and just sort of meet everyone. And it was so relaxed. It wasn't like a formal like, hello, I'm blah blah blah. Like, it was so nice to be like, it was relaxed, and that's really important. And we go to that's our local beach, our favourite beach.
Yeah.
So we go there sometimes I go there. Some weeks we go there every day.
Yeah.
And it's really special. And I think that's nice to, as a foster carer, to do, is not just sit in the house if you feel, and I think the plan's always been very flexible, that if we didn't feel like that was right, then we wouldn't. But if you feel like that's the right decision, then go for it, because I feel like it's easier to meet everyone outside away, and obviously the weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe meet
when you can.
somewhere. But so that was a really important thing that I think.
So you spent kind of time really early on, kind of getting to know the family, kind of building that up. And there were some things that Pete and Lynn done that helped, that kind of made that those first kind of days or weeks a bit easier for you. What else kind of helped with building your relationships with the family?
I feel like it's quite hard to remember now because we do it all the time now.
Yeah.
I feel like we walked Hector the dog. We now don't have Hector, but my nephew used to call him Hector the Dodge. But he's we now have Henry as well. We used to have both of them, but unfortunately Hector died. But we lived on a farm, so there was a lot of land we could walk on.
Yeah.
So we'd all go and walk the dog. There wasn't like any cars or anything, so we'd like ride bikes. We just spend time outside, and obviously, like quite quickly, we had COVID, which we all say also, yeah. So I think that was also something that pushed us together. And we used to just like go for walks together, like play games on the Xbox, and obviously in COVID we because obviously not everyone, we didn't all live in the same house, so we used to do like FaceTimes and do like quizzes and stuff.
Lush.
Yes.
And I think everyone just coming over and everyone just sort of treated me like part of the family straight away. And I was quiet and probably wasn't, because it takes time and you've got to give it time, and just meeting everyone and being able to like, being called Auntie M, and like knowing that the children like looks forward, like my niece and nephews, they look so forward to seeing me. It's so lovely, and I just know that I'll be in their life forever, and they're like and it's just like so important.
Yeah. And you get to do that now for the young people and children that come and stay with you as part of Mockingbird.
Yeah,
as well.
And I think because obviously we were lucky that we know a lot of people anyway, but some foster carers, they don't know a lot of people, and sometimes it's just a few of them, and I think it's important, especially other adults, that they come and stay, and it's not like I feel like they just walk in, like like they just walk in, and I feel like that's what's really important about Mockingbird, that it's not formal, it's like family, and it's connection, and and there's we've got such a range of children, from like babies to like older
teenagers,
children.
And I remember Pete saying that, like, Pete, the children don't knock anymore, they just walk on in,
they just walk in,
it's like their second home.
Yeah, and they just like, I think they really look forward to coming, and there's two children in particular, and they're like, no, we want to stay another night, let's stay another night. I'm like, no, sorry, you can't, you got to go home, and they just love it, and it's just lovely that we've, been able to achieve that, and obviously it's all of us as a family, and and I think it's like sort of developed my sort of view on fostering, how fostering should happen, and obviously with Pete and Lynn I've had a really, really positive experience, but I've also experienced the negative, so I know what works well, and it just pushes you to want to make it better for everyone as much as you can. But obviously there's only certain things you can do, but just trying to help people to realise that babies are really, really important, and we love the babies, and I love the babies, but there's these children, if you have a 2-year-old and you say, I didn't want to foster them till I'm 7, well, what are you going to do when they get to 8 or 9 or 10? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And, you've you know, if you've really incorporated like and helped this child to be integrated and be part of your family, well, are you really going to let them go when they're 18? Like, you know, so I think it's about, and also, you know, how are they going to feel? You know, everyone needs a family around them and people. And I feel like we sort of forget about people when they get over 18, and that's really, it sort of really upsets me, because as I know a lot of care leavers, and you see the situations they're in, it's so sad, and I just wish that everyone had what I have.
And this is why you wanted to come kind of on the podcast as well, wasn't it? To really talk about that as well.
Yeah, because I know that I'm extremely lucky, and I have, you know, seen that there are more and more people doing stay put, and people are really part of people's families, and they, you know, and that's really, really, I'd say in the last 2 years that's really started to happen, but it's not enough, and we got, you know, that we need, and obviously everyone isn't gonna want what I had. I couldn't go back to my parents, and I knew I didn't want to. Some people, you know, they're not going to want to be part of a family because they see it as they've got a family. But I think most children, if given the opportunity, they would love that, you know. But first, you've got to be given the opportunity, because it's a two-way thing. But you know, the foster carers, or I don't want to call them carers, but the foster parents, they've got to show that first, and then, you know, and you've got to like accept that. But it takes a long, long time, and I think people that foster worry about it, but I think they don't realise how long it actually takes, the process of like building the connection.
And it is, I think, if you because I'm guessing kind of when you moved in with kind of Pete and Lynn to start off with, it was possibly short term to see how things go, and then moved into it being long term, which usually means until 18, but actually long term means beyond 18, doesn't it? There's very few people who have grown up within the home of their mum and dad who leave at 18 and never go back. You know, there are often phone calls to somebody, you know, your electric's gone, or, you know, we need some emergency food, or I need picking up from somewhere. And that's what's really important for young people who have left care, is making sure that they have their people, their family.
If you have that, it's so much, obviously life's still hard, life's hard for everyone, you know, and obviously if you've had trauma and all of that, it makes it 10 times harder. But, you know, if you've got that person to call, or you're with them, then it's so much easier, because you can just, you've got people to rely on, you've got people to ask for advice, and you've just got connection with people, and that's so important. I feel like that's what people miss out on, and that's where it all goes sort of wrong.
And you mentioned sort of that post 18. How did you find that, and what would tell people a bit more about that, I guess?
I think, cause obviously I don't really like saying this, but because I feel like I'm part of the family, but obviously I'm a corporate child, whatever they want to call me, I don't know. So,
and you also care experience, then you're a care leaver as well as being family.
But I don't know, it's hard to make the connection of sort of identifying as a care experience person. Do you know what I mean? Because I like to do that, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. But it's hard, because I see myself as, you know, as Lynn and Pete's family. But also I understand that, you know, I'm biologically not. So I live with them under the staying put scheme. Which leading up to that was quite scary, because I knew whatever happened, they would always have my corner, and they would always not let me leave, and we would sort something out. But it was so delayed, the process. I think it actually all got signed off, and it was all guaranteed when I was like 2 days to being 18, or maybe I was 18. Or I can't remember, because it was quite a stressful time, and we didn't know what we were doing. And obviously I knew that, you know, deep down, but I didn't know, because obviously you hear a lot of story, you know, a lot of life experiences of people being moved to this place or this place really far away, and then being homeless, and then, you know, and I didn't know that could happen to me, and I knew it wouldn't, because but deep down, you know, you never know. So when it actually got officially, and I got given this document which said, don't trash your room, and don't do this, blah blah blah.
Your stay and put agreement.
And I signed. It was very boring. I signed it, and that sort of made me really happy, because I knew it, you know, and obviously I think that's till 21. But obviously, you know, I'm part of the family, and we'll sort out after. But even if, you know, I am ready to, I don't think you know, we never know. We can't discuss that till you're there. But even if I am ready to leave, you know, I've got people that I can come back for lunch and dinner, and call and go and see and have fun with, you know, and they're always my family. And, you know, you've always, you know, because I remember when I moved out, he was like ringing, like, oh, can I microwave this with this? And how long do I do that? Will I get ill? And I was like, oh. And he's like, so if you haven't got that, how hard is life just to do the most simplest things, like, you know, make dinner, or know how to turn your heating on, and all of that business.
It's people in your corner, isn't it? Like you said, it's so important.
Just that support, forever, you know, long term. And I know now, I've always been very, I hope it's forever, because I knew I wanted it forever, but I didn't trust anyone. I didn't trust that. So, but now I thoroughly know that, whatever happens, I'll be part of the family forever, which is really important to me.
And you knew that you were part of the family, but I guess the stress and the worry of not having that staying put agreement, that agreement between everybody for when you're 18 and legally an adult, not being in place. And I guess, one thing that you would like to be different is something like that is done sooner for young people and smoother.
It was hard because I think lead up to being 18, I had a lot of different social workers, unfortunately. Yeah. So at that time, I was quite, if anyone came to see me, I was quite like, maybe wasn't the nicest to them, because I was annoyed of reintroducing myself and saying, well, you're going to leave. And I don't want to see them because I'm safe and I feel happy. And them coming reminds me that I'm not, and that's just hard.
Yeah. So you're the other thing you I guess is that you want to share is for people thinking about fostering, is if you're wanting to think about moving into long term. So most foster carers will start short term and move into long term. But actually what long term means is that lifelong kind of commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, forever. And it's not just till, because I think originally I was short term. Yeah. Which I think is actually quite a long time, isn't it? It's like 2 years.
It can be up to 2 years.
Which I find amazing when I say,
Yeah, because I see that as like, I thought, but it was short term, and then we moved to long term, and then now obviously we've developed into, I'm like
family.
A family, which was weird saying all these words. But I think, obviously you've got to have a connection to the child, but you've got to give them the opportunity to grow that connection, and sort of make mistakes and not judge those mistakes, but be sort of firm about what your expectations are as a family and what sort of the commitments are and the morals and all of that. Because obviously if you want to be truly part of someone's family, you've got to follow, and just talk about things. It's not that hard. If something's worrying you or worrying them, just bring up and say, Emily, why are you doing this? Like, just and just having, not judging the answer. And it just grows. And before you know it, you won't be thinking about long term. You'll be thinking, oh, they're my family.
And what you've talked about there is what anyone would do in a family environment. You speak to family members about stuff if you have worries or concerns, and it's just remembering that, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely. I mean, one of the things that you talked about lots of things that you would do with with Pete and Lynn and with all of the family. What about the kind of the characteristics or like the personality or the things that they would maybe do for you that you needed that helped you to feel safe?
I think obviously I was quite quiet, so I think it was stuff that wasn't like too out there, but sort of exposed me to like not risk, but do you know what I mean? Like just
giving you a bit of space,
but
also encouraging.
But also encouraged me to do things that I've not done before, but not like scaring me off. So it was like slow progress, and sort of like Pete would do this thing where he would say like, I know what he's doing now, but I didn't know what he's doing then. He'd be like, because I didn't like talking to people. I didn't like, oh, he's like, I'm gonna go and sit in the car. Can you like, here's my card. Can you like pay for the shopping, or like, can you go and get this in the shop, or like, I'm like, oh no. And now I'm like, I knew exactly what you're doing.
Now you know what he's doing.
You can see through all the tricks now.
Yeah, it's just stuff about developing me, and just like I think when I was referred to mental health services, I went to CAMS, and I think the longest I spent in the appointment was like 2 minutes, and I ran out because I couldn't communicate. So it was like Pete and Lynn, they were advocating on my behalf because I wasn't able to, but I was able to speak to them at that time, but I wasn't able to speak to new people, so they really understood me, and I don't really know how we did. I think it was just meeting other people and I trusting them over time and knowing they had my back, and that there was nothing I could really do that would like make them decide to not have me, because I always had that fear that they're going to say one day, oh, we've had enough of you because you're annoying and you're putting this pressure on us. Well, because I feel like what they originally, because obviously you get like a sheet about the child, about me, and what was on the sheet was not, eventually, I got very poorly. So I felt like I dropped them into this situation. I didn't want to do that because, well, I felt wrong for it, but it wasn't my fault because it was just me and my body responding to trauma, and that's really positive, but it doesn't feel positive. And they just sort of, don't judge me and really support me and know what I need when I need space, when I need time to talk, when I need to be alone, when I need to be with them, and just and obviously, you know, sometimes I would get really angry and break everything, and you know, and they would calm me down and not be really angry at me after, and just repair, which is what Pete says.
Yeah.
It's funny now because I understand
You
it all.
understand it now,
Obviously at the time I was like, oh, and now I'm like, now we joke, I'm like, no, you're not repairing with me. So yeah, just all of that sort of thing, and it's just being there. It's time, and everyone always used to say, oh, it takes time. I'm like, no, like, and unfortunately we haven't had, you know, a lot of support from services because there's not much out there. So we have been together all the time, and that didn't matter that to me that we didn't have that support because we were together and I had them, and that's all that I needed. And maybe it would have helped, but I mean, we got through it and
Made it work, yeah.
And there is a challenge, isn't there, for young people sometimes, and I know that there's so much work being done with things like the Care Leavers Covenant and trying to make being a care experience in person a protected characteristic for things like interviews and kind of equality and employment rights.
Yeah, so luckily we have that in Devon now.
Yeah.
We've got that
That's
brilliant.
been really,
Devon, that's
that was
there,
really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And I was on a call with Devon the other day, and one of the things that they do is they help businesses in the local area understand the needs of young people who are care experienced when it comes to employing them. It's something called PACE. And they help all of the businesses to kind of understand so that when young people who are care experienced do apply, the right support is in place for them. And they work with the Exeter College, and I just think that is exactly what's needed, isn't it? It's that additional support.
Yeah, because unfortunately, you know, we have had different life experiences, and you know, we haven't had time to focus on things. You know, like when I was younger, I have no idea what I wanted to do because I don't think anyone does really, but you know, I didn't have time to know who I was or what I wanted in life because I was thinking about surviving, if you know what I mean. So, and obviously, you know, unfortunately, you know, trauma affects people long term. Yeah. So, you know, when you turn 18 and need to get a job and all of that, it doesn't suddenly disappear. I mean, that'd be great, but it doesn't. So, you know, there's lots of different services that do support people and care leavers to achieve the best. Which, you know, I feel like we all want, and there's always a standard that, you know, that sort of like the sort of that people have this sort of thought of you when they find out you're a care leaver, like, you know, which is like really sad that they're like, oh well, you like, you know, you're not gonna, and I want to like define the statistics and just, I don't know, that's my thing. I just want to, I don't want to be like what the, you know, do you know what I mean?
It's breaking down the stigma and the stereotypes, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, sometimes the statistics do show that maybe people who are care experienced, you know, have more difficulties within their health or maybe in relationships or employment. And actually, but with the right support and with the right community around you.
Yeah, it's greatly, I mean, I don't think it's reduced. I think, I have massive problems of health and education and all of that. But it's so much easier because I have that support compared to someone that doesn't, you know. And it's like when I was at school, obviously I missed a lot of school, and then when I moved in with Peter and Lynn, I went back to school for a few weeks, like as I should, like normally, and then it was decided that we'd go back on a part-time timetable, and then it was the point where, you know, I couldn't unfortunately be in school. You know, I was spending a lot of time in and out of hospitals. You know, we were trying to find out what was wrong with me, that sort of thing. So it's a lot of appointments. So, and it just wasn't safe for me or my school for me to be in school. So I think I spent about a year and a half off school. But when we returned to school, Pete or Lynn would sit outside, and I would go in for half an hour and come out, and you know, and we built it up. And then I went back in year 11. With support of, I had an amazing tutor, and she used to visit me at home, and at that time, you know, I couldn't focus, so it depends on the day. She was great, like she'd be like, right, I can see you can't do this today.
Today's not a good day.
Today's not a good day, like in the nicest way, and we would just like do something, and it would just build my relationship with her, and she just understood me so well. And sometimes she'd be like, right, we need to focus now, or like, we don't need to focus now, and be quite straightforward with it, and then she came into school with me and would teach me in school, so it developed me going to school, and then she'd come and see me, and then I would go to lessons. So some, you know, lessons unfortunately didn't work out for me, so I would do my lessons, you know, not in lesson. And I had great support from my school, and obviously Lynn and Pete waiting outside, and I feel like some carers think, oh well, it's not my job to do that. They're at school. Well, actually, it meant that I wouldn't be in school if they weren't sat outside. And obviously, they didn't sit outside all the time, but it meant that they would make sure that they were available in case they got called to come and get me. And it works because, I think my tutor said that I was like, my sort of level of education in like maths and English was like, like in like what it should be like when you're in like year 6.
Yeah.
So obviously I had a long way to go to be, GCSE year 11. So we worked really, really hard. And I was lucky that I did have her. And then I passed all my GCSEs.
You did.
It's amazing, isn't it?
In a year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it just shows that the right team around you found the right support that you needed at that right time. Yeah, because
if I didn't have the support from my school and the understanding from my school and the support from Pete and Lynn, I don't think I would be doing near enough anything I do now. Yeah. And obviously I definitely wouldn't have been in school because I wouldn't be able to, so that was incredible, I think, to what they did to enable me to go back into education because they knew that's what I always really wanted to do. Yeah. And understanding that they had that, okay, Emily, it's not a good day today, we're not even going to bother going to school. And I didn't make that decision, but I trusted in them because they knew me so well. And sometimes I'd be like, no, I'm going to school, and then it never went well. I should have, they understand me so well. Yeah.
And there was something that you've brought with you that's a character that's kind of helped you through your journey a little bit.
Quite funny. It's not funny, but this is Arlo the dinosaur.
Oh,
we love Arlo.
He's a bit. He's unfortunately he's not good to be standing on a table because he's a teddy bear, and he's a bit damaged and dirty, and he's been a long-standing member of the family actually. So the story of Arlo is so when I was younger, I think because I wasn't able to verbalise things, I would define things as like people were good dinosaurs or bad dinosaurs. That was my thing, and how I sort of judged people. And so that's what I did. And I would always say oh, this happened because the good dinosaur was asleep, so the bad dinosaur could hurt people. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how I would deal with everything. So then, as I got older, when I went to live with Lynn and Pete, after a while, I wasn't able to verbalise and say oh, I really like you, thank you for looking after me, thank you for making part of the family. I'd just say you're a good dinosaur. Yeah, and that's really positive. That. If you get called a good dinosaur, then that's great. And I don't really say that as much now, but the dinosaur and Arlo, and obviously Arlo's from the Good Dinosaur, and there's a scene in the Good Dinosaur where the mum and dad say to Arlo, we got to make our mark, and he's got 2 brothers, and I think he's got a brother and sister, I don't know, he's a dinosaur. Yeah. And the brother and sister make their mark, and I feel like Arlo represents me. It's a bit cringy, but it's how I feel.
It's not cringy, it's beautiful.
Arlo represents me because he, as a character, he takes longer to do things, and he finds life harder than the average person. But in the end, with the support from his brothers and sisters and the people, it's not people, are they? The creatures around them. Yeah. He, is able to succeed and get everything, and he's part of the family, and he makes everyone proud. And that's, I think, what me carrying on and sort of working to get better and doing everything that I'm doing is me making my mark into the family, which is like Arlo.
It's so lovely, and you talk about that links so well, like the work you do, like your Foodie Friends and with the Mockingbird and everything like that. It's so lovely to sort of see it almost like full circle, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. We were so pleased when you kind of said that you kind of wanted to be on our podcast, and hearing about everything that you've talked about, and you've made me feel quite emotional at kind of a few points that we've been talking about, because I think what you've been through and where you're at now, and how you're using the skills that you've learned, is absolutely incredible in how you're helping other young people and children, and adults with your Foodie Friends, with the Mockingbird. Is absolutely beautiful, and I've absolutely loved hearing your story, and I know that everyone listening is also going to have loved hearing your story, and together I know we're all going to kind of feel really proud of you. Is there anything else before we kind of finish our episode? Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today that you want to make sure that we've spoken about?
I don't think so. I think it's just to, think about fostering teenagers. We've I think we've had we all come into the world, wanting to, I guess we come into the world to live, and if you're in care, you've had lots of different experiences, but they're obviously being care, they're never positive, are they? So I think we all deserve a loving family, and that doesn't stop when you get to 13, when you become a teenager. And I always find it really funny when people say, so I understand there's lots of concerns about fostering teenagers, but if you do, and obviously with Mockingbird, and if you wanted to join the Mockingbird Hub, you know, with the support, you can say to not members, but like the people that are in the group saying, I'm really struggling with this, you've got that support, so you know that fostering teenagers, I feel like everyone gets scared. Well, we're not scary. No. I feel like I'm quite nice.
You are.
Good dinosaur.
I'm a good dinosaur. And you just got to give everyone the opportunity and think about, you know, I didn't choose my life at the start. Unfortunately, it was the worst 12 years of my life. And I'm always going to remember that. But now I've got this 6 years, which has been the best time of my life. Yeah, there's been lots of ups and downs. It's been really, really hard. But that's because I was given the opportunity by Pete and Lynn. And I took that opportunity and I worked to improve myself and get better and sort of not let the past define me. And it's really hard and you've got this, but I don't want to be the past anymore. I want to be me in the future as, you know, as part of the family with my new surname. It's just, I think as a Carrie Prince person, you've just got to trust the support, you know, because I think there were times that with Pete and Lynn, I was like, I made it quite hard for them and I wanted to like them to give me up sort of thing. I don't want to say give me up, but I wanted them to not take me in and be so nice to me because I didn't understand why anyone should be so nice to me.
It wasn't something you were used to.
No, and it was such a shock. I was like, well, why are you being nice to me? But I think it's important that, you know, as a Carrie person, you take everything, you take every opportunity and you try and remember why you're doing it and just think that, you know, you don't have to be what you came from. You can be someone new and, you know, these people want you and they love you and don't push them away. But obviously the thing is, that's a good thing. If you push them away and they don't come, that means they want you. And that's what you're testing for, really. But yeah, just to remember that, you know, you can have a great life. You know, you've just got to stick with it, work hard and just use everything around you and just trust everyone, really.
And do you know what? I think that's possibly the first time in all of our 8 episodes so far that we've actually talked about love in fostering.
Yeah, I think it's all. There's not a lot of like. I feel like there should be.
There should be so
but it is
much.
love. It's just
it is love.
The way to deal with it. You just got to like you would like. Obviously, it's different because there's a lot. You know, it's very different to. Everyone says, oh, we just do it like your you know, like how you treat your biological children. Well, that's actually quite hard because it's so different, and everyone says that. But it is, you've just got to have the groundings of that you love your children. And obviously it takes time. You can't just like be like, I love you, like that would be horrible.
Yeah, cool.
Scary,
But it takes time to build that bond.
Yeah, and
it's
all about love. And everyone says, what is it? What is it to be a good foster carer? Well, actually, it's just quite simple. It's just you've got to love them and show them the love, and you know, but I feel like that's not really spoken about, and it's, you know, really important.
Thank you for bringing that into this, because I think you're right. It's something we've not talked about, and I think it is really important. And love is really important. Like you say, it's not immediate. It's something that grows,
a long time,
but it's something that every child and every young person, and actually every person needs. And sometimes the fostering family is that love connection, which is really needed to nurture.
You know, I feel like it's my journey of speaking today sounds like it's been quite smooth. It really hasn't. There's been lots of bumps in the road, but it's all about that they never gave up, and I never gave up. You know, it's teamwork. You know, you've got to all parties have got to be dedicated, and there's been big bumps in the road, and we thought, oh my gosh, like how are we going to do this? And you know, it's been really, really hard, but we got past it, and it's always about knowing, we've dealt with this before, we can carry on, and just not saying, oh, this is quite a big, difficult thing that we're going to have to deal with. How are we going to do this? Well, they never dealt with that before, but we did it, and it's about sticking with it, and it'll pass, and it's hard to explain, but
Amazing.
And that kind of sums up our last question of advice as well, I think. Well, I think it's already been answered better than it possibly could be.
I think it
yeah. So, no, it's been really lovely having you on and hearing all your experiences.
It's been absolutely, fantastic hearing from you, Emily. We've loved it. And I can't wait to hear more about your next steps with your Foodie Friends and everything that you're doing, and kind of
excited
catching up with Mockingbird. So thank you for joining us.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.